What's going on, Squares? Jay here, and I just wanted to talk to you today. We are not in my normal setting, not in the basement. We're on our annual end of October camping trip. We do this every Halloween, and today I wanted to talk to you about something that is decidedly not October related or anything like that. The guys from Gaming Off the Grid, Russ Lyman, Jay from NES Addict, they've been doing these $100 challenge videos where they're building an NES collection using the loose prices on price charting and what games they would pick to build their collection from. And you know what? I've done $100 challenges in the past, and I figured, why not? I haven't done an NES one yet, and there's all kinds of amazing games for the NES that you can build a collection from now. For some folks, they're going to buy a ton of cheaper games. For me, I went with a couple of heavy hitters and then some cheaper ones as well. All right, kicking things off, first and foremost, you guys know I love my sports games, so I gotta have a sports game in here. We are starting with ice hockey. Currently on price charting, this is a $3.47 game, and this is one of my favorite sports games ever released on the NES. Fantastic arcade action featuring my favorite sport. You get to choose your favorite character to play as. You can have the fat guy that delivers the big hits, the skinny guy that's fast and can shoot well, or the medium-sized guy that's well-rounded. Now, this isn't exactly ice hockey. There's definitely some fast and loose interpretations of the rules here, but you know what? It's still a fantastic game. Awesome graphics that hold up to this day. Like, it still feels like a hockey game, and this is one of those games that I go back to all the time. It's something that I've had in my collection for years, and if I was starting off with $100 and building an NES collection, NES Ice Hockey would be one of the first ones that I picked up because it is just that good. Next up, $5 on price charting. This is a really good one. Now, this is one when I was younger I hated, and it's an early Capcom game that I legit picked up because I loved Mickey Mouse so much, and it is Mickey Mousecapade. Now, when I was younger, I couldn't stand this game, but I went back to this a few years ago and played it again, and I was shocked to realize how much I enjoyed it. This is a fantastically simple platform game from Capcom, but there are so many things that this does so well. There's hidden objects in a ton of the rooms in the different levels. There's a wide variety of enemies that you're going to face. It's a good challenge. There's some really neat Disney Easter eggs as well, like the Fantasia brooms are in here. And honestly, it's a game starring Mickey Mouse. Now, when I first played this, I thought you were just going to be in a mansion the entire time, and that's kind of what it was going to be, but it's really cool because the further you go, the different kind of areas you get. It goes from kind of this room mansion exploring game of a platformer to one where you're in more of a traditional platformer and you go to the beach. I really like it. I like that you have to find weapons as you play so you can actually shoot stars with both Minnie and Mickey. And I think for $5, this is a solid enough game and a good enough of a platformer that you're not going to feel like you wasted any money. This is a good thing to start a collection with. It's a lot of fun to play, and I think it is a quality game more people should really give a nod to, because while it is an early Capcom title and a lot of people kind of gravitate towards the more popular Capcom Disney games, this is a good one, and this can get you started on a Capcom Disney collection that you won't regret. Next up, we have another sports game. This one is from SNK, and this is one of the best baseball games ever released, period. Like, not just on NES, just this is one that holds up to this day because of how good of a game it is, and that is Baseball Stars. Now, if you have never played Baseball Stars, but you love baseball, this is one that you need to check out because it is arcadey without being over the top, but enough of a sim that it doesn't lean so heavily into stats and things like that, where it's going to be boring for someone that's just kind of a casual baseball fan. This is one that still plays brilliantly well to this day, and it's a nice enough of a rendition of the version from the arcade that SNK released that I think it's going to be something that people enjoy. If you've only ever played the arcade version and never played the NES version, you definitely should check this out because it is an absolutely wonderful game. Now, when I bought this personally for my collection, I paid about $5 more for this. So knowing what it's at on price charting at $12.25 is kind of a steal. Like, I didn't have a problem spending $17 on it. I wouldn't have a problem spending $12.25 on it at all. It's that good of a game. And I think if you try this one out, you're going to love it. Next up, a fun action RPG that Gary's going to hate, but I don't really care. Sorry, Gary. I love this game. This is one that I sought out. When I started rebuilding my NES collection a few years ago, I had actually sold off 95% of my NES games. This is one that I sought out almost immediately, and that is Faxanadu. This is just a wonderful, fantastic action RPG that takes a lot of what Castlevania 2 Simon's Quest or Zelda 2 The Adventure of Link does, and honestly kind of perfects it. As much as I like Simon's Quest and I like Adventure of Link, I think Faxanadu does it better than both of them. It's that solid of a game. It has an amazing graphic design element. It has a really fun combat system. It's a challenging game. Beautiful backgrounds on each stage as you go through. It's one of those games that it doesn't feel like it's an NES game based on how good it looks. This is something I wish we had gotten a continuing series on because I love it that much. I really would have loved to have seen further adventures, like a 16-bit adventure in Faxanadu would have been incredible to experience because it's that much fun of a game. I really think this is one of the stronger action RPGs on the NES, on a platform that was lousy with them, that had tons and tons and tons of great action RPGs. Faxanadu is one of the best, and like I said, at $12.75, this is a steal. Next, we're going with some multiplayer action because if you're going to have an NES, you might as well have some great couch co-op games on there, and this, one of the single best beat-em-ups ever released. In fact, this is my favorite beat-em-up for Generation 3 on my beat-em-ups generation gap from a few months ago. That's Double Dragon 2. This is just such a great game. It does everything that the first game did, but like makes it fun. I know a lot of people love the original Double Dragon, but Double Dragon 2 is a significantly better game. It plays better. It's less unforgiving than the original Double Dragon was, and to me, it's kind of a perfect couch co-op experience because playing as Billy and Jimmy is just a lot of fun. It's one of those signature gaming memories that a lot of people from my generation have and that I think a lot of people should experience because they're iconic characters, they're fantastic characters, and Double Dragon 2, to me, other than Double Dragon Neon or Battletoads and Double Dragon, I think Double Dragon 2 is probably the best Double Dragon experience that you're ever going to have, and the NES version is spectacular. It's a lot of fun, there's a good challenge there, but it's not so hard that you're going to be pulling your hair out in frustration. It's just a really exciting and fun game, and there's a sense of accomplishment in this one too, when you actually make it through levels and you're able to defeat bosses or advance further than you ever had before. There's a real sense of accomplishment here. Double Dragon 2, it has enough of a challenge where it's fun, but not so much that it's going to be frustrating. This is one of my favorite games on this list and one of my favorite games on the NES. If you have never played Double Dragon 2, well worth the $12.77 to pick it up. All right, and I am going to go out on a limb because the next three games are all fantastic. They all look great. They all sound great, but I'm going to go and I'm going to say something bold here. This is a very bold move. Now, at almost $13, $12.99, Blaster Master is possibly the best soundtrack on this list, and that might raise some eyes when you see the next two games. And it's possible. Like, I could change my mind tomorrow to understand that. This is one of those games that I got when I was younger in the fabled Christmas of memory. Now, if you guys don't know, if you're new to the channel, first off, subscribe. I'd love to have you stick around. But if you're new to the channel, there was a year that my mom found a store that was going out of business and just bought me a pile of NES games for like $5 a piece, and Blaster Master was one of them. And it immediately became one of my favorite games because I just loved the idea of chasing after and trying to rescue your pet and discovering this badass, amazing tank that you were able to roll around in. Just at face value, I mean, it seems like a lot of NES games, right? Like you're in a vehicle, you're rolling along, you can hop out and you can use your human character, and that's great. But where Blaster Master really set itself apart and made it truly memorable to me was the fact that you could not only hop out of Sophia and go down ladders and into smaller areas, you could also then go into rooms and all of a sudden you were in a top-down isometric attack where you were controlling Jason and you were getting upgrades for your weapons and trying to find different areas and different abilities to increase your effectiveness throughout the game. It was one of the most exciting and most memorable games that I had as a kid, and it's something that, to me, is kind of the epitome of what the NES is. This is such an incredible NES experience and such a signature gameplay memory for me that I couldn't help but put this on the list. $12.99 is a steal for this game. It's ridiculously cheap for how good it is, and it is truly, truly one of my favorites. Okay, now we're stepping up. There's two games left, and they're both big guns, and one of them is quite possibly the best game on the NES, and that is Super Mario Bros. 3. Currently valued at $16.27, Super Mario Bros. 3 is, I mean, it's the game everyone thinks of. It's the game that got a movie as an advertisement in The Wizard. It is one of those games that still to this day holds up to scrutiny, to gamer eyes, to make sure it is something that people are going to enjoy. There's not a weakness in Super Mario Bros. 3. It is one of the best games ever released. It is one of the best Mario games ever released. In a long line of spectacular Mario games, Super Mario Bros. 3 is one of the best. It is something that I truly think every collection needs. It's almost insultingly low value. Like $16.27 seems like it's about $10 too light for what this game is. Now, I understand there's a lot of stuff that goes into that, based on how many copies were produced, etc., but it's just one of those incredible games and one of those signature moments. Like the different power-ups that were introduced. These are all things we're still experiencing today. Like the first Super Mario Brothers, yeah, we had the Fire Flower, but in Mario 3 we got the Tanuki suit, we got the Hammer Brothers suit, we got the Raccoon Leaf. It was all things that just changed the way we played the game and are still design influences that are impacting Mario games today. It is incredible, and it is a must-have to rebuild a collection with. All right, and finally, the most expensive game on this list is Mega Man 3. This is a $23.63 game, and while it is not my favorite Mega Man game, that would be Mega Man 2, there's nothing in what I'm saying here that says Mega Man 3 is a step down. It's a spectacular game. Like, Mega Man 2 and Mega Man 3 are 1A and 1B for me. They're interchangeable. They're both incredible games. You have fantastic music in this game that rivals Blaster Master as far as one of the strongest soundtracks on the NES. Incredible gameplay, memorable enemies, fantastic stage designs, wonderful boss battles, and just an amazing final stage going through Dr. Wily's castle. This is truly one of the best games on the NES, and $23.63, while it is the most expensive game, it's kind of a steal, and you're going to see that adding this to your collection is something that you should definitely do. All right, guys, there you have it. My games that I would use to start an NES collection if I only had $100 averages out to about $12.40 per game, and I think that's kind of a steal. Now, I didn't go as whole hog as some other people and get a ton of games. I kind of limited myself. I wanted to make sure I was getting top quality, high value, fantastic games that were things that I would keep going back to, that I would keep playing. Let me know in the comments down below what games you would pick to build a $100 NES collection with. Use the prices for the loose games or price charting like I did. Till next time, folks, remember to play more games, stay square, and take care. And happy Halloween.